being an American and being able to live in Europe at such a young age, I really was exposed to another part of the world. Hello human beings, my name is Cecily, and if you're not familiar with who I am or my channel, I am a 20-year-old American who is currently living abroad. I am currently residing in Paris, France, and today's video is going to be something that I've been wanting to actually talk about with you guys for so long. I'm going to be speaking about my experience in university, and I'm also going to be talking about my experiences that I've had during my gap years. Yes. That was plural. I said years. I'm really going to be sharing my story with you guys so you guys can understand where I'm coming from in the first place, how I ended up moving to France. I want to start this video off by saying that at age 18, I do truly feel that in America, we are expected to know exactly what we want to study and exactly what we want to spend the rest of our lives doing. Life is all about discovering ourselves, and at age 18, we are just at the beginning of that process. Regardless of whether this student is part of this rare handful of people who know what they actually want to do at such a young age, or they have literally no idea what they want to do, these American students end up paying tens and thousands of dollars that ultimately end up adding to the collective amount of $1 trillion that accounts for the student debt in the United States. Out of the 80% of students that graduate high school, 70% of them will move on to university, and only 42% will end up graduating with a degree. Whether they drop out because of personal reasons or just because they weren't satisfied with the course, I want students to know that there's so much more that you can do before going straight to college right out of high school. I feel like a lot of students feel like this is their only choice. Despite all of that, Americans are still somehow convinced that taking the traditional path, going to university straight out of high school, finding a career straight out of college, and then working until retirement is the best path that we can take. This is the general blueprint that we've set up for ourselves as a society to ultimately deem ourselves as successful. But I think everyone should define success in their own way. As an 18-year-old, it is super normal for us to want to just go with the crowd and do what feels safe. And I'm also just sharing all of this because I wish there was someone that would have spoken to me in this way or sharing this kind of story to me when I was coming fresh out of high school. It would have maybe inspired me to kind of go with my own flow and not necessarily feel like I had to follow the path that everyone else was taking. My story isn't necessarily a short one, so let's just get right on into it. Alright, so in 2015, I was living in South Florida with my family. I was in my sophomore year of high school when my stepdad came home one day. We were all at the dinner table and he had said that he had a potential offer for him to go work in London. I had never been to Europe before. A huge wave of sadness and fear came over me because I was going to be leaving everything that I was familiar with. And at age 15, that's not really the #1 thing you want to hear. I did not take it well. Yeah. After being told that we were gonna maybe move to London, we went over in the spring of 2015 to go look for houses and look for potential schools. In order for me and my twin brother to be able to move along with our family, we had to find a school that would be willing to sponsor our visas. That is really complicated. I'm not gonna get super into that part of the story. Ultimately, we had to end up applying to a school that had something called an international baccalaureate system. Let me just tell you, coming from the American high school system, everything is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Unless you're taking like loads of AP classes, the American high school system is kind of a piece of cake. The IB was incredibly difficult. I can just say that over those 2 years, I did feel quite out of place. I felt kind of lost. and I definitely did feel very challenged academically. A lot of the people that I was going to school with were aiming to go to top universities such as Stanford and Harvard, NYU, McGill. I had zero interest in going to a top Ivy League school. I definitely noticed that my twin was thriving in that atmosphere, and for me, I was just excited if I had time to go to the art studio in the school and spend time being creative and doing my own thing. I knew that I always wanted to do something creative, something hands-on for my career. And that's pretty much all I knew at that point where we were getting ready to graduate. I finished my junior and senior year in this school. I ended up graduating in 2017 with my twin brother. I remember going to school one day and there was a big assembly on the possibility of taking a gap year. I never heard of a gap year when I was living in the US, just because I don't think they're as common as they are here in Europe. I remember walking into that assembly and I walked out immediately wanting to go home and asking my mom if she would support the idea of me taking a gap year. She wasn't super keen on the idea. She was kind of skeptical, probably because none of my siblings have done it before. She never knew anybody who really did it. Her just looking out for my best interest. I understand 100% where she was coming from, but I really kind of had my mindset that I just wanted to go out and experience the world, get to know myself better, and experience life a little bit more before I start going further into my education. Moving to London at such a young age, like I said, really did influence me wanting to go and see more. And being able to live in Europe at such a young age, being an American, we would take weekend trips. I really was exposed to another part of the world, and I now, despite the fact that I was crying at the dinner table, I feel so grateful that I was given that opportunity to come, and I don't think I could say that I'd be living in France today if it weren't for having that opportunity of living in England at age 15. So next, after having that talk with my mom and her not really approving, I really felt like my only option left was to kind of let fear take over and just do whatever I had to do so I could not stick out from my peers and really just do what was expected of me. So I ended up applying for a foundation diploma to a university in the south of England. And if you don't know what a foundation diploma is, I'm not surprised because we also don't have those in the US. A foundation diploma is basically a one-year course where you go to university and you try out a range of different studies that you are potentially interested in. So my foundation diploma was specifically in arts and design. I did all kinds of things ranging from graphic design, from fashion, illustration, animation. I'm so happy that I did that year because I did truly get to experience the university life or the college life, whatever you want to call it. I lived in a dorm. I had my dorm mates. We had lectures. I really felt like I was at a point in my life that I just wanted to grow as a human, and I really just wanted to experience things that I had never seen before. I found out that university was not where I wanted to be at this point in my life. So after that, I passed the foundation diploma with superior, very good grades. I'm very proud of myself. I ultimately ended up going down the pathway of graphic design, and this is what I was going to specialize in and get my degree in. So the university offered to give me a place at their school. I was on my road to go start doing my 4-year degree, just like everyone else. That summer before my 4-year college degree was supposed to start, I went back to the US just to go visit my family during the summer, and I had really missed them. At this point, my parents had already moved back to Florida. Oh, my foot fell asleep. Oh, Okay, we're back. It felt really good to have that security of the 4-year degree course already kind of set for me, but in the back of my head, I knew that that was not what I wanted to do at all. Continuing on, over that summer, I did a lot of research on gap years. I saw a lot of organizations that had programs of what you could do during gap years. You could volunteer, and then I found au pairing. And basically I saw that you could get accommodation, a salary, food provided, transport provided, all for taking care and teaching our native language to children. That ended up catching my attention, and I found a website called Au Pair World, and I just started looking for opportunities. And then I chose Paris because I knew, like I said before, I wanted to have easy access to travel. If you don't really know how the dynamics of traveling within Europe work, once you are in the actual continent, it is so easy to travel from one country to another. So maybe that's why Europeans are more open to the idea of just taking a year off, traveling, experiencing new cultures, learning new languages, all of that. So then during that summer, I had kind of like switched it up. I ended up deciding that I was not going to take my 4-year course starting in the fall. Packed my bags, literally with no expectations. I knew nobody in this country. I didn't even speak the language. I arrived on September 2018, and this September it will be officially 2 years that I'm here. So there's my story. On top of that, I really want to talk about fear and how fear has a big role on when we have to make decisions. Fear is something that is taught to us at such a young age, so we can avoid the hard emotions and feelings such as discomfort, pain, embarrassment, inferiority, which is stuff that I definitely had to deal with when I was having to make my decisions. I knew that not everyone was going to be happy with the decisions that I ended up making, but the most important thing is that you're happy. We cannot sit here and live our lives for other people. We have to realize that our lives are finite. We want to tick those boxes, and we want to feel like we're doing something productive with our lives, that we are succeeding, that we are making some kind of contribution to society. And we're told that we have to go down that traditional path in order to make that happen. I'm here to tell you, you wrong. I'm so happy that my 18-year-old self, my 19-year-old self, decided to take that spontaneous and impulsive decision. I'm not going to sit here and say that my journey in France has been all rainbows and butterflies and gold. There's definitely been moments where it's been hard. That is all part of the process. I really hope that telling you guys all this and sharing my story allows you guys to see somewhat of a bigger picture and become more conscious and aware that you are not defined by your fear of what may happen in the future with your career, with your studies, with your travels. You're not defined by that at all. At the end of the day, I can sit here and testify that most of the great, amazing, blissful things that you will find in this life is sitting on the other side of fear. And I'm sure you heard this before, but I just want to tell you, it is very true. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with 3 questions that you should ask yourself if you're still a little bit unsure about whether you do want to start that 4-year course this fall. Feel free to pause the video and just get a paper and pen and answer the questions to yourself, completely 100% honest. Inside your head, things can get kind of messy up there. So once you have it in paper in front of you, really helps out a lot. Number 1, is this what you want to do, or is this what you feel is expected from you? Number 2, is this further education going to bring me closer to my goals and what I want to achieve in my life? And question number 3, what do you have to lose? At 18, when we're leaving high school, we are at an age where we do not have children, we don't have that kind of responsibility, we don't have a full-time job. You have literally so many endless opportunities, so many endless possibilities that you can decide and take. Why are you going to limit yourself? You know, go, 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 explore, be fearless, be you, go do your thing. I'm begging you, you're not going to regret it. If you take away just one thing from this video, please know you should never compare yourself to anybody else's journey or path. You cannot rush the good things. Things are going to come to you when they come to you. Of course, you can go out and seek opportunities, but you cannot compare yourself to your peers, to your siblings. The only person you should maybe compare yourself to is yourself. And lastly, don't feel like a degree is something that you have to rush into and rush out of. I think if you're gonna be spending a lot of money and committing so much time to something, it should be something that you feel excited about starting. A degree is not something that has to be rushed out of the way and then you move on to the next thing in the blueprint. You have to do it because you're passionate about it, or not, it's gonna get tiring so quickly. I think that's everything I had to share with you guys today. I am so happy I finally sat down and recorded this video. Like I said, I've been wanting to film it for a very long time now. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day. Do not forget to believe in yourself and to do the things that make you happy. And I will see you guys in the very next video. Bye guys.